Brittney Griner is, in fact,
Brittney Griner was caught on tape during a game with the Indiana Fever, dropping racial slurs against Caitlin Clark, and pretty obviously doing so.
Do you think the WNBA's new mandatory gender testing policy is long overdue? Or is this just another attempt to stir up controversy in women's basketball? Could this be the moment that finally settles years of whispers? Or is it a dramatic overreach that will backfire spectacularly?
And it doesn't take a lot of genius to...
Hey, quick favor before we move on. If you find this content interesting, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Most of you watch without subscribing and it's free, but it helps us out so much. Have you done it yet? Thanks a ton for the support. Now let's get back to the video. Fouled out again, but not for lack of effort. WNBA just dropped a bombshell that has Brittney Griner sweating bullets. After years of whispers and heated debates, the league has decided to require every single player to submit to gender verification testing before each season. The timing could not be worse for Griner, who's already under fire for her incendiary comments about Caitlin Clark's performance and persona. This policy shift threatens to turn the entire WNBA world upside down, and the fallout is guaranteed to be explosive. Griner has been at the center of speculation since she arrived in the league. Standing at an imposing height and possessing a voice that could anchor a late-night radio show, she's always drawn attention, on and off the court. Now that attention has a new focus: biological eligibility. No longer can rumors be whispered in locker rooms or online forums. Soon they will demand hard laboratory proof.
Brittney Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittney Griner calls... I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place.
The WNBA describes the policy as a move to protect competitive integrity and uphold fair play. In plain terms, that means that any player who cannot demonstrate female chromosomal markers and hormonal ranges will be barred from competing. This is not a casual screening. It involves blood tests, genetic analysis, and detailed endocrine profiling. The results will be evaluated by an independent panel of medical experts to avoid any hint of bias.
Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittney Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever.
Predictably, the policy has drawn cries of invasion of privacy and discriminatory practice from various advocates and media outlets. They argue that forced medical testing reinforces harmful stereotypes and violates personal autonomy. Yet proponents counter that women's sports exist precisely to give biological women a level playing field, and without clear boundaries, that fundamental purpose unravels.
And look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
Griner's recent video tirade, where she lobbed insults at Caitlin Clark, has only amplified the drama. The cringeworthy footage resurfaced online, reigniting debates about her motives and lending fuel to the idea that she's eager to deflect attention from her own vulnerabilities. People wonder if the uproar over her words is a strategic smokescreen to distract from what the tests might reveal.
That pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this.
For years, Griner's physical advantages, long reach, powerful build, and unmatched strength, have been chalked up to elite training and genetics. Now those same traits are being recast as possible evidence of male physiology or intersex conditions. Some experts suggest that even intersex athletes, who often have higher natural testosterone levels, could tip the scales unfairly. This testing could open a Pandora's box of complicated cases and legal wrangling. The policy rollout has sent shockwaves through locker rooms. Players like Clark, whose rapid rise and electrifying playstyle have breathed new life into the league, represent the authentic faces of women's basketball. They've drawn record crowds and shattered viewership records, proving that talent alone can carry the sport. Yet the specter of ineligible competitors lurking on the court threatens to undermine that momentum.
With Brittney Griner, right? And then the other quote, Rob, then I'm going to wrap this up and then I'm going to go to Adam.
Sponsors and broadcasters are watching nervously. The WNBA's brand is built on empowerment, equality, and progress. A policy perceived as targeting transgender or intersex athletes could alienate core supporters and spark boycotts. Conversely, failure to enforce strict criteria could disillusion fans who crave a truly fair contest. legal challenges loom large. Civil rights groups and LGBTQ+ organizations are already drafting lawsuits, claiming the policy breaches privacy laws and discriminates on the basis of gender identity. The WNBA must balance the technical rigor of its testing with robust legal defenses, no small task in a landscape where courts are divided on such issues. Behind closed doors, league executives insist they've done their homework. They cite precedents from the International Olympic Committee and other sports bodies that have grappled with eligibility rules. They argue that clear science-based criteria are essential for preserving the integrity of women's sports, even if it means enduring short-term controversy.
Lip read Brittney Griner, whose voice, by the way, is about as low as mine is, calling her trash and an effing white girl. Now, of course, if Caitlin Clark had
The human drama cannot be overstated. Imagine the fear gripping Griner as she contemplates needles, DNA swabs, and blood draws, all for the sake of saving her career. For many fans, this feels like a suspense thriller. Will the test confirm suspicions, or will Griner emerge unscathed, vindicated by science itself? At the same time, there are genuine scientific complexities. Biology isn't binary, and hormone levels can vary due to medical treatments, natural conditions, or personal health choices. The league's medical consultants must navigate a maze of ethical, legal, and biological factors to craft a fair, defensible standard. The ripple effects reach beyond the WNBA. Colleges, youth programs, and even recreational leagues are grappling with how to handle gender eligibility. If the WNBA's model succeeds, it could set a template for institutions at every level. If it fails, or is struck down in court, it could discourage other leagues from attempting similar safeguards. On social media, the debate has reached fever pitch. Hashtags like fair play and protect women's sport trend daily, with voices on both sides digging in. Some fans celebrate the policy as a victory for fairness. Others denounce it as a betrayal of inclusion. The discourse is raw, unfiltered, and deeply emotional.
never suggested the same in reverse, using black as opposed to white in that sentence, that'd be the end of her WNBA career. But Brittney Griner is going strong. It's totally fine.
For Griner, the stakes could not be higher. Beyond her personal legacy, her case will become a landmark in sports law and gender policy. If she passes the test, she might emerge as a symbol of resilience, championing the idea that dedication overcomes doubt. If she fails, her achievements will be re-examined through a harsh new lens. Regardless of the outcome, the WNBA's move marks a turning point. It signals a shift from quiet critique to formalized scrutiny, from locker room gossip to courtroom battles. The league is banking on the belief that, in the end, clarity and transparency will strengthen its reputation among athletes and fans alike. History shows that sports evolve alongside society's values. Decades ago, bans on women athletes in certain events sparked outrage. Today, inclusion is the default stance. Yet as our understanding of gender deepens, the rules must adapt. The WNBA's policy is the next chapter in that continuing saga, where biology, identity, and fairness collide. Some worry that this could drive talented athletes away from women's basketball, either because they resent the testing or fear intrusive procedures. Others argue it will attract supporters who demand clear standards and applaud the league for taking a bold stand. At its core, this is a question about trust. Can fans and players trust that the court is a level field? Can athletes trust that their peers have met the same rigorous criteria? And can the league trust itself to enforce rules without bias or error? The coming months will reveal how effectively the WNBA manages this delicate process. Will they provide support for players undergoing testing? Will there be transparent communication about procedures and safeguards? Or will missteps and miscommunications fuel further controversy?
Or the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
No policy exists in a vacuum. As the WNBA charts this new territory, it must engage with medical experts, legal advisors, civil rights advocates, and the athletes themselves. Only through collaboration can it hope to forge a solution that balances fairness with respect for personal dignity. Meanwhile, the fans continue to watch, tweet, and debate. Now, the league's credibility rests on its ability to deliver a process that feels both rigorous and just. In the end, this could be a defining moment for women's sports. If the WNBA emerges with a model policy, other leagues may follow suit, and the conversation will shift from suspicion to science. If it falters, however, the backlash could set the movement back years. Brittney Griner's career hangs in the balance, but so does the league's reputation. The question is whether the WNBA will navigate these treacherous waters with the same poise and determination it expects from its athletes. Only time and those test results will tell.
Say that is this video. It is from her Instagram stories from years and years ago.
Griner's world turned upside down the moment the WNBA announced the tests. Suddenly, her towering presence on the court felt less like an advantage and more like a glaring spotlight on her identity. Every dribble, every pivot, every drive to the basket seemed to reverberate with a new, unnerving question. Will the tests clear her, or will they shatter her career? Behind closed doors, teammates whispered about locker room alliances and shifting loyalties. No longer was team chemistry just about pick and rolls. It was about who had the facts to back up their own bodies. As news of the policy spread, social media influencers and talk show hosts seized the moment. Podcasts devoted entire episodes to dissecting the league's medical standards. Graphics comparing average hormone levels of female athletes to those rumored in Griner's profile exploded across X and Instagram. Fans argued late into the night, offering armchair diagnoses and demanding transparency. The WNBA's official channels suddenly felt silence-heavy by comparison.
And when it comes to Instagram, they use a combination of like AI detection and plus manual surveyors to make.
In press conferences, league executives trotted out legal and medical experts to deflect accusations of bias. They stressed how testing protocols mirrored those used in international competition and the Olympics. Yet their carefully worded defenses sometimes felt more like damage control. Sponsors with multi-million-dollar deals watched nervously, aware that consumer boycotts can materialize overnight. One major apparel brand reportedly drafted multiple contingency statements, waiting for a verdict. Meanwhile, Griner's opponents on the court found themselves in an unexpected limelight. Players who once admired her grew uneasy, wondering if they had unknowingly played against someone failing to meet league criteria. Rivalries gained new subtexts as each matchup became a proving ground for biological eligibility. Commentators pointed out that any exceptional performance by Griner now carried an asterisk in viewers' minds, regardless of her actual biology. The court became an arena of suspicion.
Sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this.
Off the court, the league scrambled to design a support system for players undergoing testing. They floated ideas of confidential counseling, medical liaisons, and legal aid, yet details remained sketchy, raising questions about the commitment to athlete welfare. Would a player who failed the test receive career counseling or medical explanations? Or would they simply vanish from rosters and archives? The silence left players imagining worst-case scenarios. Legal scholars weighed in on the policy's vulnerabilities. Some pointed to constitutional rights against self-incrimination, arguing that forced genetic testing could breach personal freedoms. Others noted that privacy laws might block the release of any medical data, meaning any scandal-stirring leaks would be illegal. This tangled web of rights and red tape promised to keep lawyers busy for years. Courtrooms, rather than courtside seats, might soon host the real drama. As the story spiraled, fan groups organized watch parties not just to see games, but to speculatively track Griner's off-season whereabouts. Rumors of secret training regimens and undisclosed medical treatments spread like wildfire. Even casual fans found themselves refreshing the league's website for updates on testing windows and deadlines. The sport's true enthusiasts confessed that they'd never been more invested in the player profiles that once settled quietly in media guide.
Quote of Brittney Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittney, every time we play her, there's this commotion.
International leagues observed in cautious fascination. In Europe and Asia, women's basketball operates under varied rules on gender verification. Some leagues simply accept player credentials from national federations, while others rely on self-reporting. The WNBA's bold approach could pressure these bodies to tighten regulations or risk accusations of leniency. Any global shift would ripple down to grassroots programs, forcing youth leagues to decide whether to adopt similar rules. For Griner's closest friends, the ordeal became deeply personal. They spoke of her discipline, her sense of humor, her unshakable confidence in the face of hostile crowds. Yet they also confided in private messages how worried they were that a single test could upend a lifetime of achievement. Those confidences fueled a quiet debate. Is identity reducible to blood chemistry, or is it built from a lifetime of lived experience? The philosophical questions clashed with the hard reality of testing tubes. Sports psychologists chimed in, explaining how the stress of potential disqualification could trigger performance slump. Choking under pressure is a documented phenomenon when athletes fear judgment beyond the scoreboard. Griner's usual cool demeanor might crack if she sees the league doctors approaching with needles and charts. Fans who loved her fearless plays feared she might hesitate on drives, haunted by what the lab results might reveal.
Like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called the freaking game that they...
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's camp remained eerily silent. Clark's focus on perfecting her three-point shot and game-winning drives suggested she intended to let her performance, not the controversy, speak for her league. Her supporters flooded social media with highlights celebrating her skills rather than the testing drama. This contrast framed Clark as the embodiment of women's basketball purity, pitted against Griner's looming mystery. Merchandise sales provided another barometer of public sentiment. Jerseys bearing Clark's name soared off shelves, while Griner's gear saw mixed results. Some loyal fans doubled down, buying "I Stand with Brittney" tees, but others admitted they weren't as quick to sport her number.
Sure that no explicit content ends up on the platform. So clearly whatever AI detection system was used when Brittney posted this and it stayed up for 106 weeks was not like, oh, this is a female chest, we have to take this down. Oftentimes, if breast cancer runs in a family, women will preemptively get like double mastectomies. And there are some great surgeons out there, don't get me wrong, but I don't see any scars on Brittney's chest that would be...
Legal analysts noted that controversy can sometimes boost sales, but only if the narrative stays positive, and this one teetered on the edge of disaster. Season ticket holders issued open letters demanding town hall-style meetings with league officials. They wanted concrete timelines for testing and clear criteria for appeals. The WNBA scheduled a virtual forum promising direct answers from the commissioner's office. Thousands tuned in, hungry for specifics on privacy safeguards, retest provisions, and how to handle disgraced athletes. The event's rapid-fire questioning revealed more uncertainty than assurance. Stay tuned for the latest updates. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for relentless coverage of the story that's reshaping women's sports forever.